What's going on, people? We are Tottenham TV. The transfer window hasn't even opened yet, and we are getting bombers left, right, and centre today. An extensive Tottenham update to bring you, but we're going to start off with the leading news of the day, the bomber that we got from David Ornstein. Crystal Palace have reached an agreement with Tottenham over a deal to sign Brennan Johnson, subject to the 24-year-old accepting the move. Fee approaching 35 million in place, and clubs keen to proceed, with Tottenham winger still to decide. However, there are more suitors in for Brennan Johnson as well, so it could spark a bit of a bidding war. Alistair Gold says that Spurs have agreed a fee of around 35 million to sell Brennan Johnson. The player is yet to decide his destination, with other clubs interested. And if Johnson does his part, it will be the third year in a row Spurs have sold their top goal scorer from the previous season. And they bought Brennan Johnson for 47.5 million 2 years ago. Sammy Mockbell says that Brennan Johnson is to hold talks over his future in the next 48 hours after Crystal Palace have agreed a 35 million fee to sign Tottenham's attacker. Deal clinched on Monday. Ben Jacobs says that Palace have agreed the fee, and he says that Bournemouth and Everton are among the suitors for Brennan Johnson. Ed Aaron says that Palace are facing strong competition from Bournemouth to sign Brennan Johnson. It's expected they'll match Palace's offer as they look to replace Antoine Semenyo. And finally, Fabrizio Romano says that the agreement in principle has been reached between Palace and Tottenham. Bournemouth are ready to pay the same, while Sunderland and Everton have also called in the last 24 hours. Johnson will now decide, but he is expected to leave during this January transfer window. So big news coming out of Tottenham. We have heard over the last couple of days, this is, a likely one to happen. But what's your initial thoughts on it?
Yeah, it doesn't surprise me, because all the talk ever since this first got broken a few weeks ago, it's kind of sounded like this is likely to happen and it's suited for all parties. I'm pretty open. I've been pretty open to the fact that we can let go of Brennan, because, as I've said, he is definitely a limited player and he's definitely a player who's upgradable. So I'm not against, in theory, Tottenham letting go of Brennan Johnson, even for a reduced fee, just to get him off the books and upgrade him. But we have to make sure that we've got a player lined up. The problem is, doing it at the beginning of the window, I understand Palace and Bournemouth, with Bournemouth losing Semenyo, Palace obviously injury crisis, and Sarr being at AFCON, they're probably desperate to get him in right now because they need him. And Palace, their form is tanking. Bournemouth are on a horrible run of form as well, so they need all the reinforcements they can get. So I get that. And I get that they're desperate to kind of get him in, and maybe we're desperate to get some money in right now, so that we can move on to our other targets. The problem is we've got a lot of games coming up, so if we're getting rid of him now, we've got Champions League games coming up as well. We've got how many games in the next?
We've got 8 games in January.
For the next 2 weeks.
Yeah, 4 games.
4 games. But they're coming very thick and fast, these games at the moment. So obviously he's not gone yet. I'm assuming he's going to be available for tomorrow, but it depends when we let him go and if we're going to have someone lined up. Also, when it comes from a squad planning point of view, selling a right winger right now, when it's the left wing we need to concentrate on, is a bit peculiar. Now I have had some suggestions. Are we selling Brennan, with the thought of maybe Decky coming into that role when he's fit, and maybe he fits in the competition for right wing with Kudus, and then we don't have to sign a replacement for Brennan on the right side, and just concentrate on filling that space with a left winger.
So we're going to go with Kudus on the right every single game of January, because I don't think Kulusevski is going to be at the right fitness levels to play a part in January.
He hasn't gone yet, has he, Brendan? But we have to see when he leaves. But yeah, essentially, I don't see how we're not going to sign any, unless you're expecting us to sign someone this week, if he's gone this week, which maybe will happen, but I don't really see us being seriously linked to many players. Then we'll see.
It's a good point. Look, Odegaard can play there. He plays there for the under-21s at times as well.
Yeah,
so
I'm not a massive fan of him there, but he can play there.
But he's going to be the next in line to play right wing now, if Brennan Johnson is to go. But look, it does. If Spurs have already agreed a fee to sell Johnson, I think he's played his last game for Spurs, and ironically, it was against Palace a couple of days ago. So, look, I think we're just waiting on Johnson to decide which club he wants to go to. I think they're going to accept any fee of 35 million plus, and I think by the end of the first week of January he'll be gone. But I don't think he'll play before then.
I guess depends. Obviously, you don't want to risk a big injury, so that's obviously what their mindset's in. Obviously, Johnson apparently has to decide. There's now a few clubs involved with, as we heard, Sunderland, Bournemouth, Everton. So if that's going to drag on, then he is going to be available.
It's a bit peculiar though, because they said the deal was agreed on Monday. Obviously, we played Palace on Sunday. So the deal was agreed, and he played against Palace after the deal was actually agreed.
That's why Fabio was there. Well, the deal was agreed on Monday.
That's what they said, yeah.
Yeah, we played them on Sunday.
Yeah.
So it was before.
Oh, yesterday. I thought they meant the previous Monday.
Yeah.
No, I forgot it was Tuesday today.
Yeah, Tuesday today.
So I guess that's why Fabio was there then.
Yeah, it must have been.
So Fabio's still working then?
Exactly. He's still working his magic. If what's it called? If these other clubs are going to be involved though, and if there's going to be a bidding war, and he's going to have to decide, I don't think Tottenham are going to not make him available for selection while that's going on. But it kind of depends. If he's made a decision, let's say he says today, turns around and says, look, I want to go to Palace, then I agree, he's probably not going to be available for tomorrow. But if he's still umming and ahhing, I don't see why he wouldn't be available. Because maybe he's not sure if he definitely wants to leave, but it seems as though that's definitely going to happen.
You see it all the time, don't you? When players are heavily linked and bids have been accepted, teams take them out the firing line, don't they?
It happens more often than not, yeah.
And I think this one will probably be another case of that. Obviously, we'll see what happens when we play Brentford in 2 days' time.
I guess Frank will say soon.
Yeah, I don't even know if Frank's going to mention anything. He's doing a press conference now. He's probably going to say...
Oh, he'll ask him people ask him, is he available for selection?
Yeah.
And he'll probably answer that,
And he'll probably just say, yeah, he's a Spurs player now. And then maybe they'll put him on the bench and not bring him on. Or maybe he just won't be in the squad anyway, even if Frank does say he's available for selection.
Or he might say he's not in the squad and he's not available. He might say that.
He might say that.
So we'll see. I think we'll learn a bit from what he says. I don't think he's going to confirm whether he's leaving or where he's going, but he might confirm whether he's available for selection tomorrow or not. It's sad because obviously we got a lot of good memories surrounding Brennan and the Europa League final winning goal. He's obviously going to be etched in our memory and our history forever. Even players like Alan Nilsson, Jonathan Woodgate, these kind of level players. Even though you can argue they weren't the best players to ever play for us, but they're always going to be in our history. And Brennan joins that list. And also, given the fact that we are struggling to score goals, it just feels a bit of a shame we're losing one of our highest goal scorers. But I also kind of agree that we do have to be a bit ruthless. If we are going in this new direction with this new board and all this kind of stuff, and we are making big moves, then you do have to make tough decisions. And I don't disagree with making this decision if it leads to a big signing and an upgrade.
Yeah, but it has to be this January.
For sure.
We have to make a big signing this January if we're prepared to let Brennan Johnson go. And with this news coming out now, before the January transfer window even opens, they have to have someone lined up for early in the window as well. Like you say, we've got so many games coming up, but I just can't see that happening. That's the problem. I think the best course of action is to sign someone and then let Brennan Johnson, or at least have the deal lined up so it can be one in, one out very quickly. I just can't see us signing someone that has got the ability or has shown that he can get as many goals as what Brennan Johnson has been able to get for us. I think he's the best finisher at the club. And look, don't get me wrong, I agree with you in what you're saying, that he's upgradable and I wouldn't mind selling him in the perfect world, but we all know full well that Spurs don't live in the perfect world. And we've seen it many a time. We've let big players go and we haven't been able to replace them with the required quality. Obviously, the big players I'm talking about are much better and bigger than Brennan Johnson, granted, but still, you're talking about last season, Sonny, Brennan, Kulu, Maddison, Solanke, all these guys that were able to get big goal contributions for us, over double digits last season. And now, what are we left with? Solanke's been out all season, Kulusevski's been out all season, Maddison's been out all season, Son left, now Brennan Johnson's leaving. Where are these goals going to come from?
It's a great question. Other players are going to step up. Does it lead to more game time with Tell? Can we have to rely on him? At the moment, well, to be honest, it's not like Johnson has been playing that much and scoring. So we haven't been relying on him for goals, but the reality is we haven't been scoring enough goals. So that's where we're at the moment as a team and as a forward line. So I think it's a big call to agree a deal basically in the lead up to January. I think if you're agreeing a deal for me before the window opens, that tells me that's going to get done very early in the window.
Yeah, of course.
Or maybe even the first or whatever. That you don't agree a deal outside the window and then drag it on, usually anyway, until late on. Look at Semenyo. They're agreeing this outside the window, and that's going to be done pretty quickly, I'm sure. So this is going to be done very quickly. I also, in a way, I think it is a bit of a statement of intent from the board or from whoever the decision makers to say, we're going to take a loss on him. We're not going to drag this out. We've got a figure we're happy with, albeit it's a loss on what we paid for him, but we've got a figure we're comfortable with, and we're going to accept it. We're not going to do what we did, previously. I think we can be rest assured if Daniel Levy was in charge, this probably would have been dragged out, and he wouldn't accept anything less than 40 to 45 million, I would assume. And the fact that we've made the decision quite quickly, and we've set the price, a fairly reasonable price, in my opinion, and that we've accepted the first offer, that tells me that they've got intent to move him out and go for someone who's an upgrade. So I do think that is very intentional, and I in a way that does get me a bit excited, but it's hard to get excited when we've seen how this club has operated in previous seasons now, in terms of signing players and who we're going to sign and all this kind of stuff. So it's hard to know what to think until we know what the consequences of selling him are going to be, and then who we're going to sign and all these kind of things. But in principle, I'm not against selling Brennan, in principle, but in theory and in practice, I think there are a lot of issues could arise with selling Brennan.
Look, it could work out very well for us, but then again, if we don't get someone in, then it's obviously very terrible for us. But
I think if we don't get someone in, it's I don't know why they've made this decision if they're not going to get anyone in. That would be ridiculous.
But I'm saying they have to have someone lined up.
Yeah.
Like, it can't drag on till the end of the window as well. Like, we've got, look, Kid said, we've got so many games in January. It has to be one in, one out very quickly.
But the funny thing is, a lot of teams will delay selling their players until the Champions League is over, and yet we're not one of those. We're happy to let go of players even while the Champions League's still going on, and we've got games to play for.
Yeah, I mean, the Champions League games are right at the end of the month, so it's like a long way to go till then.
I know, but we hear that excuse last year we heard that excuse. Oh, a lot of teams don't want to sell because the Champions League's still going on.
Yeah, I don't know about that, but I mean, look, Brennan Johnson, he was actually playing a key role in our Champions League campaign. He was starting a lot of the games and obviously played well in a couple of them as well. But look, like we keep saying, I think it's a good deal in my opinion. On the face of things, it all depends on who we target and who we bring in. And look, I do have the feeling that if we have agreed a deal to sell him, I do think the Spurs have potentially got someone lined up here. That maybe a name hasn't been put out in the press or whatever, but we haven't heard anything, so it's hard to really comment on it.
Yeah, well, we'll go.
They have to have someone lined up.
I think it's a better deal for Palace than Spurs, in my opinion, because I think it's a fair price. I don't think we've got nothing. 35 million is a decent price for someone like Brennan, but also it's our top goal scorer last season. He got 15 goal contributions in his first season. He's still a fairly good age. So I think Palace are getting a good deal here. I think they play similar for Ismaila Sarr, who I think was similar price, and he doesn't get the goal contributions Brennan gets. I think for a guy who can score at this level, to a good level, I think that's a good deal, 35 million, considering the prices that other players are going for.
Yeah, look, I think it suits all parties. It suits Spurs, it suits Palace, it suits Brennan. I think he's going to go to a club where he's going to really suit the way they play as well. So, I mean, the only way it suits Spurs if we bring someone of higher calibre than Brennan Johnson in. And obviously we've been linked to players like Kevin Sade and stuff like that. And if it is Brennan Johnson for Kevin Sade, then I mean, it doesn't excite me too much. I think they're similar calibre of player. I would prefer to stick with Brennan Johnson, to be honest. I think maybe Kevin Sade is a tiny bit better, but I don't think there's much in it. I think they're pretty much the same level of player. So
I also can't imagine us getting Sade for 35. I'd assume we have to pay a bit more than that.
Yeah, I mean, you're probably for Kevin Sade 45, something like that. He's probably worth about that kind of money with the goals that he's scoring at this moment. But look, we'll have to wait and see how it all pans out and progresses. But yeah, look, I am slightly concerned about it, but when you're looking at the bigger picture in terms of squad planning for future seasons and stuff like that, it's probably a good move. But it's just about the immediate kind of impact that it's going to have.
I think it would have made more sense in my mind to do it in the summer, because in the summer there's going to be more options to replace him. You're going to have more options available to you. So to sell him now when there's limited options, we know January is historically a very hard window to get the players that you want and sign the players that you want. So to sell Brennan and relying on us to get the player that we truly want for the long term in that position in his prime to replace Brennan, upgrade on him, it's a big ask. Now they're putting pressure on themselves by doing this. I'm not saying it's wrong to do it, and if they believe they can get the player, then fine. But I'm saying, are they putting too much pressure on themselves for no reason? Maybe it is a case of Brennan's desperate to leave, and they think, look, we can get a good deal now. He wants out. There's no point keeping players unhappy, and then we'll just try and work it out. But I'm kind of worried about that is the situation. That's
no way that we should be conducting our business, that we'll just work it out. Like, they have to have someone already in the pipeline lined up. Like,
I'm worried that's the situation. I'm worried that, like, we've seen Palace and Bournemouth are desperate to, like, sign him and put the money on the table. We're pretty happy with the money, and we might feel like, are we going to get a better opportunity to get this money right now than two teams who are really desperate? So we're just like, okay, we'll accept this and we'll try and work out a replacement. I'm worried that's the situation. I hope it isn't, but I'm worried that's what's happened.
The thing is, that's probably the way. Well, Spurs would have either done that in previous years, or they would have kept him at the club and waited to sign someone else to let him go. This way of doing it, if there is someone lined up, then that will be a significant part of how kind of we're going to do our squad planning going forward as well. Like, it'll be amazing to see, like, you know, we wake up tomorrow or something happens later today, like Spurs have agreed a fee for someone else, and it's a player that we all want. That will really kind of introduce the new ENIC 2.0, isn't it? Because we've never seen something like that before.
Yeah. So it's a really odd one when it comes to this deal. I've definitely got mixed feelings on it, but it could end up being a fine deal for us, in essence. So it's all about how we react to this and what we've got planned. Basically, the question is this sale part of a bigger plan, or is this an opportunistic sale? If it's an opportunistic one, I've got issues with it. If it's part of a plan to sell them and we've got someone lined up and it's all like part of a process, then I'm all right with it.
Has to be part of a plan. It has to be. It has to be. I'm not letting myself believe anything other than that.
I mean,
it has to be part of a plan.
It could well not be.
It can't just be an opportunistic sell. We're able to get money in for a player that was our top goal scorer last season, without a plan in place to bring someone else in. That would be crazy talk.
I wouldn't rule it out.
It would just be nuts from this football club if they were to do that, particularly with the place that we are in the league and what we've been showing this season.
Agreed. We had a poll on Twitter, so we asked what people's thoughts are on the deal. Is it a good deal or is it a mistake? 1,089 votes. 74.2% of people said it was a good deal. It is a good deal.
It is a good deal.
And 25.8% say it's a mistake.
I think it is a good deal. Like, if you just want to talk about none of the kind of situations around it and just talk about the deal in itself, I think it is a good deal. And I think it's a player that, you know, we've both said here is upgradable. So if you get a player out the door that's upgradable, then it's no problem. It's just about you got to upgrade him. That's the whole point.
Yeah, that's the thing. So yeah, we'll see. I just do struggle right now. Like, first of all, like, we've talked about someone like Ndai. He ain't going to be available till later on because he's at AFCON.
Yeah.
Obviously, Sharda we could go for, but is he much of an upgrade? I do think he's a better player and probably offers more than Brennan. But it's not something that's like a massive improvement, but it's probably an improvement. But
it's not an improvement worth doing, if you know what I mean. Like,
I'd rather wait till the summer where you can definitely get better options.
Exactly.
Rather than panic and get Sharda, or not panic, but you know, go and get Sharda. But then again, Frank knows him well. Maybe he can get even more out of Sharda.
If the plan is to go with Odebear as the Brennan replacement and give more minutes to Tell on the left-hand side, I'll be fuming. I'll be absolutely fuming. Because it's something that Spurs would have done before as well, that kind of move. Just kind of promote within. And we did hear an update yesterday, I can't remember who it was from, saying that, the hopes are with Mikey Moore, after his loan move in Rangers, he can come in and stake a claim for a first team spot. And obviously he's a left winger. So that could suggest as well that we might not even sign anyone this January on the winger.
I think the plan is to sign someone. I definitely think that's the plan. I don't know if the plan was always to sell Brennan, or it's come up that we've got a few offers and we're thinking, you know what, maybe we should. But I think we're going to try and sign left winger. I think that's definitely the plan. But selling a right winger to sign a left winger doesn't necessarily, to me, scream this was always part of the plan. But we'll see. We'll see what we go for. I just think we're going to struggle, in my opinion, to get what we really want, which is a player in his prime, ready to come in and do what all the fans want right now on the left wing in this January. It's going to be difficult. I'm not saying impossible. I'm just saying it's going to be very difficult. So selling a player who does give goal contributions is a risk. Big risk.
Yeah. And it also begs the question as well, what Spurs are going to do with Matisse Tell, because Frank doesn't seem to rate him. Frank never gives him opportunities.
Yep.
Obviously, he was left out of the Champions League squad, then put in with Dom Solanke being injured.
Yep.
He's got, I would say, in recent weeks, the similar amount of minutes to Brennan Johnson.
Yep.
So is there a case, if a bid comes in for Tell, would we accept that as well?
Wouldn't be surprised at this point.
So there's another interesting kind of scenario here, because if we do sign a winger in this January transfer window, that leaves, well, it depends if if Kulusevski comes back, let's say, and we want to put him in the Champions League squad, then we need to leave Tell out again. It depends if Kulusevski's fit or not.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of question marks there. But then, we heard December he was going to be fit, and that's kind of dragged on a bit. I think Tell could easily be loaned out. At the very least, I wouldn't be surprised if that's the case, which would be a shame, because I've kind of liked what I've seen from him in his last few cameos. So I'd like to see a bit more from him and giving him a start on the left or something like that. But for some reason,
he clearly rates Odegaard higher than him.
Either way, give him a chance.
Yeah.
Like, I don't really understand. He's obviously he's choosing Moani off the left, who's not really a winger. Odegaard's getting more opportunities. I'd just like to have seen Tell get more of a chance, but I wouldn't be surprised. I think the plan probably will always be Tell might leave, to be honest, regardless of the Brennan situation, which would make room actually for a left winger anyway. That's what I'd assumed was the plan going into this window anyway. It might not have been, but that's what I thought was going to happen when we heard there was going to be a left winger signing. I thought, okay, probably Tell's going to either be sold or be out on loan. That's probably what's going to happen. But now that Brennan's taken me a bit by surprise, but I don't know, I just get the feeling it's a bit more opportunistic. But we'll see. We'll see what kind of the plans are going ahead of this window. And, as I said, because if it was a summer, I would be a lot less worried. But because it's January, it's just you're leaving yourself short and it's a risk. So, as I said, they're putting pressure on themselves to get things done now.
Well, look, all eyes on Tottenham Hotspur now and see how we can react to it. All eyes on Brennan Johnson to see where he chooses as well, because clubs are coming in for him. Palace, obviously, the deal's agreed with Palace. There are murmurings that Bournemouth, Everton and Sunderland all could match the kind of offer that Crystal Palace have put in. And if it is a choice between Palace, Everton, Bournemouth and Sunderland, where does he go?
I think Palace probably makes the most sense.
Yeah.
Only because they're in Europe, and they're in London. Doesn't have to move. They're probably the best team out of the lot. He could end the season with back-to-back European trophies potentially, so that's something to think about. The only thing you would say is obviously there's a lot of uncertainty there with Glasner, so he could sign and then Glasner could leave, and then all of a sudden it's a different situation and he might be stuck there, which would obviously not be great. Wages-wise, would they offer the highest wages out of all the lot? Maybe Everton would, I would say.
Potentially even Sunderland.
Maybe Sunderland. So there's a wages component to it, albeit Brennan probably would get himself over 100 grand a week at Palace anyway. So I don't know if it would be a massive difference. I think the highest paid player at Sunderland is Xhaka at 110. At Palace,
I think at any of those clubs he gets at 100 or close to 100 at least.
At Everton, it's 150 with Pickford, I saw. Idrissa Gueye gets 120. So would you want parity with Idrissa Gueye, probably, you would say. Yeah, I don't think the wages is going to be a massive issue to go for any of them. I don't think it's going to be the deal maker. Put it that way.
No,
I think
he's on 100 at Spurs.
Yeah.
So
obviously he'll want a pay rise.
I don't think he's going to get a significant pay rise. Maybe like 10 grand a week or something like that. But he'll get a pay rise. Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't think it's about the wages. So I think Palace probably makes the most sense.
Yeah, I would agree with that, and I think he just suits the way they play as well.
Yeah.
Like Bournemouth, I don't think so. You know, very heavily possession-based team, and we know Brennan Johnson's limitations there.
I wouldn't say they're possession-based, Bournemouth. They're very up and down. They're very chaotic.
I think they try to be though.
They've tried to be a bit more this season, but I don't necessarily think he wouldn't suit them.
I think he suits Palace more.
Yeah, I agree with that.
It could be an interesting one for Sunderland. Because, the Sunderland chairman did come out and say, we're this place in the league. I want to make signings to reflect that. Brennan Johnson will be a massive coup for Sunderland.
Yeah, for sure. Would be a big signing.
And I think he'd do really well at Sunderland as well.
And when it comes to Everton, could we, if they are seriously interested, could we tempt them with a cash plus Brennan bid for Ndiaye?
I think we could. Yeah, we definitely could. Why not? I think Everton know that they're going to have to sell Ndiaye sooner rather than later. He's going to want to go on to bigger things. And Brennan Johnson could be seen as the kind of long-term replacement for him. So, yeah, I think Spurs could definitely look to tempt them with that sort of offer.
So maybe this story is not over yet when it comes to where he's going. But it seems as though Palace have definitely stolen ahead of everyone. And they've got the deal agreed. So usually when that happens, I think the player usually acknowledges, this is the club that really want me. And this is the club that have pushed the boat out. And they usually go with them. So I'm assuming Palace is going to be the way he ends up. But if these other clubs are coming in from, maybe there'll be a bit of a bidding war. Maybe we haven't heard the last of this. Yeah, definitely right. But we'll have to wait and see how it all plays out. But at this moment in time, a deal has been agreed between Tottenham and Crystal Palace for Brennan Johnson, £35 million or close to. And also it's worth noting that Nottingham Forest do have a 10% sell-on fee as well for Brennan Johnson. So not all 35 million will be going to Tottenham Hotspur. So that's also worth noting. But that is that situation. There are a lot of strong links going around between other players and who can Spurs potentially replace Brennan Johnson with. And the first player that we're going to talk about is Mr. Jan Diomande of RB Leipzig. As Sammy Mokbel says that Tottenham have an interest in RB Leipzig's winger Jan Diomande, and he's on the list to replace Brennan Johnson. However, Matt Barlow does say that Jan Diomande is unlikely to move mid-season. Yeah, I mean, it seems as though this is a bit of a pipe dream. It seems as though we've scouted him and
want him.
Yeah, he's clearly we've decided he fits the bill, but getting him out of Leipzig in January is going to be a big ask, and they're going to ask him for a ridiculous fee. Maybe we're going to be prepared to pay it. Is it a smart thing to do? Maybe we'll do the dumb thing this summer and just pay the money. Maybe we'll do it, and maybe it'll be a great decision. Just something tells me that we're not going to. But then again, maybe I'm thinking with my Levy goggles too much.
But look, there's one thing paying the money. There's another thing convincing the player to come. You know what I mean?
I think that we should be okay with that.
I'm not so sure because, I think he's had links to some big clubs and he might think, you know what, there's an offer here from Spurs in this January transfer window. But what if I carry on developing for the next 6 months and get a bigger offer in the summer?
Yeah, but no guarantees are there. He's 19.
No, there aren't any guarantees.
Premier League.
But if he backs his own ability, then he might think that way.
He might. I'm sure he might do, but he's only 19 and he's only been playing this season for Leipzig. So he might think if I go to Tottenham, it's a really good stepping stone down the line to a massive, massive club. Whereas right now, there's no guarantee these bigger clubs, a bigger club than Tottenham is going to come in for me in the summer. No guarantee, especially at this age. So I don't think if we match their 100 million, I don't think we would have too much of an issue convincing him. Maybe I'm wrong. I think he probably would come, but it's about whether we could be prepared to pay that stupid money. Whether it's the right thing to do to pay that stupid money. Is he the player that we really want at 19 years of age? When the whole thing is we need players in their peak age. Although I would say sometimes with a winger, if they're on the younger side, it doesn't always matter that much because I think sometimes wingers need to be a bit fearless and they need to have that youthful exuberance about them where they could just take people on without thinking too much. And sometimes that helps, but not necessarily to say it's perfect, but sometimes it can be a benefit to be quite young.
But also you're talking about selling someone for 35 million who got us 18 goals last season, signing someone for 100 million that's 19 years of age, not got many professional games behind their belt.
Yeah.
Is he actually an upgrade in the kind of immediate future to Brennan Johnson?
I mean, he's going to come in younger than... First of all, he's a left winger, isn't he? But he's going to come in younger than Odegaard and Tell. So we're talking about Tell and Odegaard being too young, yet we're looking to sign a younger player.
Yeah.
So those are all definite caveats and definite concerns. Apparently, I haven't seen too much from him. I've only seen highlights of him. But everyone says that on Twitter and whatever, this guy's the next big thing. This guy's a special talent, and you'd be stupid not to get him, and he could be the next big thing. So if that's true, maybe we do need to get him in. But it's tough to justify that large an outlay where you're losing a big player for, as you say, that gets goal contributions, and you're not getting a player to replace him who's in his prime, which was the goal beginning the window.
I don't doubt this guy is a massive talent, but I mean, we have heard that before about many young players. Mm-hmm. Some make it, some don't. That's just the nature of the game, isn't it? Mm-hmm. And obviously he's had a very good start to the season. He's doing very well at the AFCON as well. But I don't know, man. I just can't see Spurs doing it. And first of all, if he wants to stay at RB Leipzig for the next 6 months, then it's not even a possibility.
If it's a hard no from him, then yeah. But we'll see. We'll see if we actually put the money on the table to acceptable to Leipzig, whether he actually wouldn't have his head turned or not.
So that's Yan Diomande. Another player on the list is Magnus Akelouche of Monaco, as Matt Barlow says that Tottenham do still have an interest in the versatile attacking midfielder Magnus Akelouche of Monaco. Obviously, we saw him firsthand in the Champions League when we played them. I thought he was the best player on the park. By far, he was bamboozling our defence. Player of high quality. Mm-hmm. Goal contributions, what is that? 3 goals and 2 assists so far in the French league this season. He's a player that obviously is not a left winger. He can play the kind of inside right 10/right winger kind of role. Obviously, he wouldn't be an absolute like replacement for Brennan Johnson, but he is a player that can fill in on the right hand side for us.
Yeah, I would say he's very similar to Decky. That's kind of maybe a bit more incisive and he's a bit more nimble, but he's quite a similar kind of profile to Kulusevski. So if we're relying on Kulusevski to come back and then we've got Akelouche there, then all of a sudden it might be a bit of an issue. And he's not exactly the player we need in terms of a left winger, an out-and-out winger. He's definitely more of a wide number 10 than a winger, I would say. So I like him. I'm not going to say no to signing a player like Akelouche. Does he raise the standards of the squad? Does he raise the floor of the squad? Does he raise the technical level of the squad? 100%. That's all true. Could he make us a better squad and a better team? 100%. Does signing him solve much in terms of the real issues in the team and squad? Probably not. But it wouldn't make too much sense as a replacement for Brennan. Well, I guess he does make in a sense that he can play off the right. But again, as I said, we've got Decky for that if and when he comes back. So unless we're writing off Decky for this season, which I don't completely disagree with, but then you've got to contend with it in the summer and going forward. I'm not against it, but I wouldn't want Akelouche to be our winger signing, put it that way.
I think how it makes sense to sign Akelouche is if another winger's going out, like we spoke about Matisse Tell. So if Matisse Tell and Brennan Johnson were to leave in January and then to bring in an Akelouche and someone else that can play on the left-hand side, then that starts to make sense. But if it's just Brennan for Akelouche, then that doesn't solve our left-winger problems.
No, it does not.
So that's that. Spurs again linked with Kenan Yildiz as who's talking about it. So Matt Barlow says that Kenan Yildiz is another one highly rated by Tottenham, who is attracting attention with agent George Mendes busily creating a market for his player. So I mean, it sounds like he could be on the move with George Mendes creating some sort of market for his player.
I just got no belief that we can get him and that he is going to be on the move or he's going to come to Tottenham. If any of that changes, then sell whoever you want and get him, because I think he's brilliant. And I would be super excited, and he could be what we need. He is what we need, really. just a special player. But I can't sit here and say I've got any belief I actually possibly can get him.
Yeah. I mean, it's hard to believe it because of how good he actually is, but the name just keeps getting linked with Spurs. But I guess it was the same with Rodrigo. There were just non-stop links with Rodrigo to Spurs. Matt Barlow. But
not terrible.
It's not. He's not even saying that Spurs are going to make an offer or Spurs. It's just we admire him. I admire him as well.
I'm sure a lot of teams admire him.
So yeah, I do think Yildiz will end up at a very big club that are going for to win the Champions League, not just to make up the numbers. So as much I'd love Yildiz, I think it's hard to believe that he's going to come and join Spurs. And this next one, I think is probably the most likely of everyone that is probably going to join Spurs, and that is Oscar Bob. As the Mail are reporting that Tottenham are amongst the admirers for Man City's Oscar Bob. And yeah, I just feel like this one just makes sense, to be honest. I think it's a player profile that Spurs like, young, showed a lot of promise, played in the Premier League as well, albeit not too much, but he showed quality in the Premier League. And obviously we need a winger. So I think this one just makes sense, and I think it's like the calibre of player that Spurs will probably bring in.
Yeah, I don't see us, to be honest, in this window getting big signings. That I'll just be shocked if we do, because it's a difficult window to do it. So when someone like Oscar Bob comes available, you do have to take a look at it, because he's a good player, and he was a good player. Unfortunately, he had that big injury that's held him back in his development. But it doesn't mean this guy is always bad or is never going to get back to the potential that he had or anything like that. So I think you've got to consider it. And he was once thought of as one of the best talent at Man City at one point before that injury, and he was, I remember, coming on and actually providing impact for Man City at some point. So I think as a replacement for Brennan, that does make sense. Is he an upgrade on Brennan right now? It's hard to say yes, to be honest. I don't really say how you can in the short term. Does he have a higher ceiling, and is he a better player than Brennan? Probably. I think that's fair to say. We can all see when you watch him play, he's got a lot more to offer than Brennan Johnson. But in the short term, does he offer more? Probably not. I think a loan deal with an option to buy makes sense for us. Not signing him permanently. I think have him, because I think he plays more off the right, but can play off the left as well. So I think a loan with an option to buy, try him for the next 6 months, see how he gets on. I think that does make. I wouldn't say no to that, because I do really rate him.
Yeah.
But as we've said, since that injury, he's struggled.
Yeah, exactly. He started the first 3 games for Man City this season, and since then he's barely got too much of a look in. He is currently injured at the moment as well, so that's also another thing. I don't know how significant the injury is or anything like that, but I just look at when I'm looking at the names being thrown into the ring, this one just makes the most sense to me. And I think if that was to happen, it would be fairly underwhelming, because it's not, again, like I'm talking about the Andy Amande, it's not someone that you say in the immediate future from now to the end of the season is a definite upgrade on Brennan Johnson. Mm-hmm. That's the problem.
Yeah, but in January, that's kind of what you got to do. I don't really see us, again, in terms of players being available and available to sign, it's very, very difficult unless you really overpay. So when it comes to availability, this is what you've got to contend with, essentially. Now, if you want to go get an Ndai or whatever, you might be able to get them. You're going to have to pay a big fee because you're signing him mid-season. So you're going to have to pay over the odds. Are we willing to do that? Let's see.
Yeah. And then a potential couple of outgoings, Radu Dragusin. We brought you this one yesterday, but Sky Sports says that Dragusin is one of the players on Roma's list of possible defensive targets. If Spurs indicate they are open to offers, other clubs are likely to show interest. And Sky Sports actually just reported that Spurs are looking to strengthen their options with another naturally left-sided defender. So it could be the case of Radu out, left-sided defender in, which does make sense, to be honest, in terms of squad planning, because we've got Dan So that can play on that right-hand side as in a backup role. We just don't have anyone on the left-side role as a backup role.
Yeah, if we do that, I'm not against it, to be honest. Obviously, we have Takai there as well, but apparently he could play on the left, but I don't know if he's ever going to get a chance. Radu, it makes sense to or at least loan him out and then sign someone for that role, and then maybe have him and Danso battle out next pre-season for that backup right-hand side. So I'm not mad at that. I do think Radu's a good player, so I'm not desperate to sell him permanently. But I think a loan deal makes sense, to be honest, if we can get someone in.
Yeah. So Thomas Frank has spoken about the Brennan rumours, and he says, I won't comment on rumours. Brennan has been a top professional, trained well today, and is ready for 2 days' time. So there
You mean tomorrow?
No, we're playing on Thursday.
Yeah, we are playing in 2 days' time. Yeah, you're right.
So that's that. Another defender who's linked with a move away is Ben Davis, as the L'Equipe are reporting that Nice are considering a move for Ben Davis. Obviously, we know he's going into the last 6 months of his contract now. And with Spurs reportedly after a left-sided centre-back, this makes even more sense, with Ben Davis potentially going out the door. And it makes sense. Just get what you can from him with 6 months to go. It's not like he's playing much anyway.
Definitely. Yeah, I would have sold him. Well, I wouldn't even give him the contract, but we did. If we can get some money for him, fantastic. He's played, one game this season. Maybe Ndombele can put in a good word.
You must look at the roster and be like, with Ndombele again.
Yeah, I think that makes a lot of sense. I don't even know how much of an option we consider him, to be honest, right now.
Yeah.
It seems as though a lot like we'd rather play like Paulinho or centre back than him at the moment. So, but then again, with the doggy injured, he came on left back, didn't he? The other did he come on?
Yeah, he
left back?
did.
Yeah.
But Thomas Frank says a doggy's back training on the grass, so it should be pretty soon till he's back.
Good. Well, we need a left back anyway. On top of that,
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm happy to let him go. Obviously, I don't think he's up to it at this level at the moment.
Yeah. And finally, Spurs have been linked again with Scott McTominay. Calcio Mercato says that Tottenham have joined the race to sign the Napoli midfielder. 29-year-old have had some tensions off the pitch, which means a return to England could be on the cards. Not sure what tension they're talking about.
Conte has tension with him, let's be honest.
But Scott McTominay has been absolutely brilliant for Napoli.
Mm-hmm.
Is he the kind of player we need?
No. He's not a bad player. Again, does he improve our midfield? Probably.
For sure.
But he plays a very specific role for Napoli. And he's playing in a 3-4-3. A lot of the time he's playing in a front three as like an auxiliary like forward, essentially, just with the tactic of getting in the box, arriving late, and he's got physical.
He plays that kind of Fellaini role, doesn't he?
Yeah. So we don't really do that.
Yeah.
So I don't really see the need for him unless we're going to start doing that. Yeah, he kind of goes into the box a bit unnoticed, unguarded, and steals in, and that's where he gets his goals. In terms of general play, I still have question marks about him, but he's obviously done really well with his goal scoring.
I think for Scotland he plays more of a number 8 though, doesn't he?
I think even for them he plays quite an offensive role, doesn't he?
I thought he was like a box-to-box or like maybe an attacking 8 kind of thing.
Yeah, I think he's more of a the Fellaini role. I don't think he's too different. I think he's more attacking even for Napoli, but for Scotland, I don't think he's. Yeah, I guess he's a bit more of an 8, but I don't think he's the kind of. He's not like a real technical player. He's good in the box, and I think they've got the best out of his finishing, but I wouldn't sign him. I think it would be a mistake to sign him.
Do you not think he's better than what we got?
I think he probably offers more right now. I think like Bergval's a better player than him, in my opinion. I think he's in terms of just pure footballer. I think he offers the goals. He's obviously 29, but they play to his strengths. Napoli and Scotland, like they get those crosses into him. He gets a lot of headers and first-time finishes. He's very good at that. That's not what we need from a midfielder right now, in my opinion. That's not the profile we need. I would sign him. There's a good deal if we can get a good deal for him, but I wouldn't go crazy and pay big money to bring him in.
You could score quite a lot for us with the amount of times we spam crosses into the box.
It's not untrue. Yeah, I would agree with that. I would agree with that. But for me, he doesn't improve. He improves us, I guess, but I think it would be a mistake to sign him for big money.
I think he's much better than what we got right now in terms of being able to make an impact. Because our other midfielders are not really making an impact. You know, they play well a couple of games here and there, but they're young players coming through. Like, he is 29, he's in his prime right now. I think as a short-term option, it would only be a short-term option. That's the problem.
Yeah, and I wouldn't spend big money on him, and that's what that you would need to do, I would assume.
Yeah.
And he's not that good at anything apart from scoring goals, to be honest. He's not really that good at other stuff. I'm not saying he's bad, he's just not, like, amazing. His real big trait is getting in the box and scoring. That's what he's become brilliant at.
Yeah, but we need more of that.
We do, but that's not enough for me.
I think, like, if you are to sign McTominay, we need another midfielder. Like, a midfielder that control games in the middle of the park. Obviously, on top of that,
anyway, yeah.
He's not that. But in terms of if we were to sign that and that, I would take McTominay for sure. Like, if you're talking, like, how much do you think it would take to get him out of Napoli? How much is big money you're talking about?
50, 60?
For 60, I wouldn't. If it's something between 40 and 50, I would. I think he's well worth that.
I just think it's a bad long-term thing. I wouldn't do it. Why spend so much money when we need... Because you'll probably want him out in 18 months, in my opinion.
Yeah, maybe 2 to 3 years.
Not even.
Yeah.
So I think I'd rather a player who was good for the long term. Like, good for now, but also could be part of this team. Like, I just don't know about McTominay. I think he plays a bit like Brennan. He plays a very specific role very well, but he's actually not that great. I'm not saying, but for what he does, what he's asked to do, he's great. Like with Brennan, when he was asked to get to the back post and do it, he was brilliant at that, and so he gets goals. That's similar to McTominay.
He also holds a big value, McTominay, in terms of his off-the-ball work as well. He works so hard for the team. Really good tackler, isn't he, in the middle of the park as well. I think he's an aggressive player. And plus, he gets you goals. So
he's not like an elite off-the-ball. Like, you can't really put him in a double pivot, to be honest. He's not fantastic there. Especially his on-the-ball ability makes him struggle in a double pivot. So yeah, he's quite good in the 10 for off the ball. He's works on. He's strong, but again, he's a limited player. He's limited, and that's fine. I'd just rather not spend big money on him.
Fair enough. But look, let us know your thoughts in the comment section below. Would you take Scott McTominay at Spurs? Who do you think is the most likely candidate to replace Brennan Johnson at Spurs during this January transfer window as well? But that is it. That is all we have in terms of transfer news for you guys today. I want to big up to 1,260 people in the live chat with us. It's almost a shame to end the stream at this time with so many people. Preview?
For tomorrow, for Thursday.
I thought we were doing it tomorrow.
We've got the press conference today.
Yeah. I mean, I haven't the press conference just came out this second.
Yeah. Could do it.
I didn't even know we were going to do the preview. I thought we were going to do it tomorrow, but we can do it if you want.
What do you reckon?
Don't know, you're springing on this me now. Live on stream.
We can end it.
This is getting awkward now. I don't know, man. Whatever. We've got 1,195 people in here. What do we even know what the team news is?
We know about, he said everyone should be available. Lucas is okay. I'm quite positive he will be available. But of course there is a small doubt. Just about, everyone's fit, it seems.
Have we got assets? No.
But just need injury graphics. Why not get that?
All right. Fine.
Got some quotes. What else is he saying? He's saying Romero is ready for the game tomorrow. As far as I'm aware, it will be something that will be decided in early January in regards to a ban. Yeah,
we know that because the 2nd of January is when the appeal is the appeal deadline. So, we always knew Romero was going to be available for this game. It's just the game after he might be banned for. So the Sunderland game.
So it's more quotes coming out as and when. That's all we got at the moment. What about some comments on the post? Brian Daigle was talking about Brennan. He said, have wanted us to be able to take offers for players that aren't first team certainties for a while, especially before their contract starts winding down and value plummets, which we often do, and loan them out before letting them go cheap. This is a good deal, but needs replacing. Good to also see that the new transfer team that have a lot of bridges to build because of Levy's past antics have got this one done very smoothly, which has to be a good sign for both incomings and outgoings. Wishing Brennan all the best, all the very best, and thanks for the goals and Bilbao.
Look, it's fine. Like, all of that is fine. Like, and in essence is true in terms of this is what we've needed to do for a long time, is to get these kind of players that we can upgrade on out the door so we can upgrade on them. But you need to upgrade on them. That's what it all comes down to. And if we don't upgrade on Brennan and we bring in a like for like or someone that's not able to get as many goals as he's shown, then it's not going to be a good move for us, is it?
Yeah.
So we can all sit here and say, yeah, this is a new way of doing things and it looks all different, which is fine and I'm happy with. But it all depends what happens next. That's what it all comes down to.
Yeah, for me, just doing it in the summer would have made more sense. But doing it now, let's just see if we get a replacement in.
Yeah. It was also worth noting we should talk about Jan Min-hyuk, because he scored a 98th minute winner for Portsmouth yesterday. What a goal as well. Such nice feet, taking it down with a few men around him and rifling it into the far corner. We all thought, Jan Min-hyuk, his loan spell at Portsmouth went a bit cold, but this could reignite it, couldn't it?
Definitely. And I saw, actually, I liked a comment on Twitter. Right? It was a Portsmouth fan. This was it, yeah. He said, that's exactly why I don't want Jan Min-hyuk to leave in January. Sure, he's pretty effective off the right. He's fantastic off the left, though. Ineffective, sorry. Off the right. He's fantastic off the left, though. And he can go missing at points, but man, he's such a great finisher and has fantastic footwork. Moments player, we need him, and we needed that. It was a brilliant goal, and hopefully that would start to reignite what has been a floundering loan spell for him, which had definitely had its moments, but it started to go a bit cold. But maybe it's just exploded into life again, and the fans seem to not want him to go.
Yeah. Which is great. It's great. And they were all serenading him after the game. They've got a song for him and everything like that. So it's great to see. And also Alfie Devine scoring for Preston yesterday, another good goal. And Alfie Devine, I mean, if you think about the Portsmouth fans loving Jan Min-hyuk, that's nothing on what the Preston fans think of Alfie Devine. Like, he is the darling of that team and he is doing fantastically well. I believe they have an option to buy him at the end of this year, but apparently they're not going to be able to afford to buy him for that option.
What, 6 million, I think it is.
Yes, whatever it is, I'm not sure, but a bit too much for a club like Preston. So it'll be interesting to see what happens with him at the end of the season if he keeps going from strength to strength, because you compare him to the likes of Jamie Donnelly, because we all thought that Jamie Donnelly might have been ahead of Alfie Devine, but obviously Alfie Devine has been doing it at a higher level, and Jamie Donnelly can't get into the Stoke team. And again, he was on the bench yesterday. I don't know if he came on or not, but I assume he didn't. And Jamie Donnelly needs to come back to Tottenham, and we need to reassess the options there.
Well, I heard a rumour that Bolton are interested in him.
Oh, really? They're in the League One?
Yeah.
Or are they in the Championship?
Bolton are in League One, aren't they? They're in League One. So he could be heading back down there potentially. I heard a rumour. I saw on Twitter. League One.
Yeah.
6th in League One.
Which will be a shame, because we know what he can do in League One. We don't know what he can do in the Championship. And it felt like League One, he'd done all that he could do in League One. And I was really excited to see what he could do in the Championship. And unfortunately, it's not going to happen.
Yeah, it's gone quite wrong for him, which is peculiar, but I don't know if he needs another go at it, or does he need to go back down to League One, regain his confidence again? It's a tough one.
Yeah. All right, so let's get into it. Let's get into the predicted lineup for Spurs against Brentford at the G-Tech on New Year's Day. What day is New Year's? On Thursday. Thursday, New Year's Day. we've got a bit of a wait because, a host of teams are playing tonight. No games on Wednesday on New Year's Eve, and then there's a couple games on New Year's Day, and obviously Spurs are one of them. Thomas Frank going back to his old club. Obviously, we had our best performance against Brentford this season. It's going to be interesting to see what kind of lineup we go for. I assume that we're going to go... Well, let's go through the injury news first.
Yeah, injuries, well, same, except for Bergvall is a bit of a doubt. So we got Maddison, you got Kulusevski, long-term injuries. You've got Sarr and Basuma out at AFCON. You've got a doggy who we said positive steps, the famous last words. But a doggy is back on the grass and back running again. So he's going to be available. Radu Dragushin is not injured. He's available. So he is going to be able to play. And the only other one would be Bergvall, who's a doubt. But he said he's confident he's going to be available. But he's a doubt for Thursday.
It'll be a blow if Bergvall doesn't make this game, because then who do you play as the third midfielder? But look, let's get into it. 4-2-3-1 or 4-3-3, whichever one we're going to go for. Probably makes more sense to go for 4-3-3, seeing as we don't have a 10. But here we go for 4-3-3. All right, so Vicario in goal, obviously.
Big Vic, and we know those long those long throws are going to be difficult to contend with from Coyote.
Yeah. So Vicario in goal. Right back, we know, is obviously going to be Pedro Porro. Look, let's just go through the back line because we know what the back line's going to be. Romero's going to be back in. Van der Ven will be back in. And Jed Spence at left back.
The only fun thing you could maybe say is because we don't have a 10, and because Bergvall might be out, and because Dan's had such a good game, could he go with a back three this game to throw off Brentford and just go with a double pivot in the middle?
I wouldn't be completely against it, but I don't think he'll do it.
But we also don't have Sarr.
Yeah.
So you're looking at a midfield three of basically, if no Bergvall, that is, of Gray, Bentancur and Paulinho.
Well, if we had a certain right winger called Brennan Johnson, you could play Kudus in the 10.
Well, he said he's available, but whether he actually is available...
Yeah, I think what he says and what's reality might be two different things.
Might not be, though.
Might not be, but I think it is.
So then what? Then what do we do?
Or you could play Odegaard on the right, Tell on the left, and Kudus in the middle. I don't think he's going to do that, but that's an option.
In a way, does back three not make more sense?
I mean...
You play the double pivot of Gray and Bentancur, you got the wing backs, and then you don't have to bother with the number 10.
Yeah. Yeah, look, it's a possibility, but I just don't see him doing it. I don't see him doing it at all. I think he's going to push Bergvall. I mean, he says he's confident Bergvall will be fine, so
maybe Bergvall will be fit.
I think Bergvall's going to play.
So we think Bergvall, Bentancur and Gray.
Yeah.
Or unless, actually, it's midweek, isn't it? So maybe he wants to freshen up a bit and get Paulinho in there.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't be against it, but I just feel like he feels like we move the ball a lot better with Gray and Bergvall, or Gray and Bentancur there.
I agree, but it's also midweek, so he's not going to go the same. He's going to have to change a few players, isn't he? Or someone.
I reckon if there's changes more, it'll be on the Sunderland game, because it's still what, Sunday to Thursday is still a significant gap. It's not like it's Sunday, Tuesday, or Saturday, Tuesday.
Oh, I see what you mean. Yeah. Okay. All right. So Bentancur and Gray at midfield three.
Now it's the front line. Is he going to go with the same with Moani on the left and Richarlison up top? We know Kudus is going to be on the right.
I think he kind of has to play Rishi.
Yeah.
Because he played so well. So, in my opinion. So I think he will play him.
But there's a case to say, should Odegaard start after his cameo?
I agree.
Instead of Moani out on the left-hand side. And
I agree.
my thing has been play a left winger on the left wing. It just makes more sense.
But he did play Moani against Brentford and he worked quite well in that game, didn't he?
Yeah.
I want to see Odegaard or Tell, obviously, but Odegaard deserves a crack at it. Is he just going to go for Moani?
He probably will just go for Moani, but I would like to see Odegaard play.
Me too. Me too.
But it's going to be Moani, isn't it?
Unless he goes Moani on the right and gives Kudus a rest.
Nah, I can't see that.
Moani can play off the right. He's done it before. Not for us, but he's done
I can't see him not playing Kudus.
it. Oh, sorry. Moani off the left, Rishi up top, and Kudus up front. So largely unchanged then. That's the same lineup, apart from Romero.
Yeah. Exactly.
And again, how many options do we actually have to change it with the players out? It's not much.
Well, we got, like we said, the left winger. We've got João Palhinha.
Yeah. Our back line is, and fullback, for
Fullbacks you
example.
can't change unless you want to play Ben Davies at left back. Midfield you can't really change unless you want to play João Palhinha. He's the only one that can come in.
Then you got Odegaard and Tell if you want, but it's not loads of options, is it? Because of the injuries in AFCON.
Yeah, I would like to see Moani up top and Odegaard on the left, or Tell on the left, or even Odegaard on the right and Tell on the left. I don't really mind what way he goes with the forward line. Just the one thing I don't want to see is Moani on the left. But that's the one thing we're probably going to see.
Yeah, I think he actually will do it because Brentford are quite a physical team, and he's going to want to battle that physicality and counteract it with long balls to Moani and getting him to hold the ball up from wide areas. And I think he did a really good job of that in the home game. And I think he's going to do. I think he's going to know that worked, and he's going to do it again. That's what I think.
All right. Well, this is the lineup that we are going for. Vicario in goal, Pedro Porro right back, Jed Spence left back, a back two of Coutinho Romero and Mickey van der Ven. You've got Bentancur, Gray and Bergvall in the midfield three, Richie up top, Kudus on the right and Moani on the left. So that is the lineup that we're going for. If this is the lineup, what's your score prediction?
I said 2-2. I'm going to stick with 2-2. I just feel like if Brentford, we are seeing what Palace did, I just feel Brentford are going to be a bit sharper than Palace, and I don't think they're on kind of, they're lacking what their intensity Palace are at the moment, and I can see us struggling to keep them at bay with I think we're struggling to defend crosses and stuff sometimes, and we allow the first contact and the long throws. I can see us struggling, so I've gone for them to get a couple, but I also think we know how to exploit them, and we've got the quality to exploit them as well, and we've got some good players potentially in the forward line coming off the bench. So I'm going for a couple of goals for us. So yeah, I'm going to go 2-2.
I'm going to go 2-1 to Spurs. I'm going to stick with my prediction. I went for Spurs to beat Palace, and then I changed it on the preview. I'm not making a mistake this time. This time is probably one I'm going to get wrong, but let's hope not. I'm going to
change it.
I'm going to go 2-1 to Spurs.
Then we're going to lose now. We're definitely going to lose now.
2-1 to Spurs, and look, I think we got the beating of Brentford, albeit it's a very hard place to go, the G-Tech, and there will be times that we're going to have to struggle in the game, and but I don't think we're going to allow Brentford the opportunity to hit us on the transition too much. So I think we should be okay. So yeah, I'm going 2-1. Tim's going 2-2. Let us know your score predictions in the comments section below. And let's get straight into the match preview, because it is the second game that we've had against Brentford this weekend. This season.
Yeah, before we've played Sunderland even.
Yeah, which is crazy to think about. But look, it was our best performance of the season when we played Brentford at home. It's a different kettle of fish going to the G-Tech and trying to get a win there. I don't think many teams have won there this season. They're fourth in the home table. We're first in the away table, so it's going to be an interesting matchup. But in terms of tactically, do you envisage that Spurs try and tactically play this a bit similar to the way we played against Crystal Palace? Because they're similar in a sense how they want to kind of just hit you on the transition a little bit, and that's their method of attack.
I think we try and do what we did to them in the home game. I know it's a different, I know it's obviously different playing them away from home, and there are different aspects to it, but what we did to them at home worked so well, and we pressed them really aggressively, and they really struggled to deal with us, and also they really struggled to create anything for themselves. So I think from that point of view, I think Frank will look at that, and I don't think he'll abandon that. Now the problem is we don't have Xavi, so Xavi was obviously a big part of what we did at home, wasn't he? And his individual moment of brilliance got us the first goal. He ran off Vandenberg in behind for the first goal, and his individual brilliance for the second goal. So he's going to be a big miss. And to be fair, even in that game, we did give Brentford the possession in the second half, if you remember.
Second half, yeah.
In the first half, we were on top of them, pressing really aggressively.
We were 2-0 up at half-time.
2-0 up at half-time, and then second half we gave them possession and countered them, and again we managed the game well. So I envisage something similar in this one. We'll go after them first half and try and get the lead, and then second half manage the game. That's what I think we'll probably do.
You need to be in the lead though to do that.
You do.
So I'm not sure if he's going to try and do the same, because he'll know the value of everything to do with Brentford at the G-Tech, and I just got a feeling that he might do a bit. He might stand off from the beginning a little bit. Don't press too much and just wait for them, and then kind of counter them when they try and come forward, and give them the onus and try and give them the ball, and try and beat them that way, the same way we try and beat Palace.
Well, I don't think it worked that well against Palace, to be honest. I know we won, but I think you can't ignore how we kind of blew Brentford away on the day. Mm-hmm. So I don't see why he would go for something different. It doesn't make sense to me, unless you think missing Xavi is that much of a miss that we have to completely change how we play.
Well, it is that much of a miss, because everything was going through Xavi that day. We don't have that player that can go on the pitch in this game. We don't have a pure creator. We're going to play Bergwijn in his role, and that's just not his role, is it?
No, not his best role, in my opinion. Although Frank seems to believe he can play in the 10, which I don't disagree completely.
There's playing in the 10, and then there's being a pure creator like Xavi is. There's two different things. He can play in the 10, but he can't do what Xavi did pretty much in the game against Brentford. He can't do that.
I think if he was to do that against Brentford, what he did against Palace, I think it would be a mistake. I don't think it's the right approach. I think I can understand why you would do it, because Brentford do rely on those transitions and hitting you over the top. But I do think we've got the players to deal with that, in my opinion. And I think they struggled with how we pressed them, and they struggled with the way we were able to play the ball over the top on their side, and ask them the questions rather than the other way around. So I think for me, I don't understand. Again, it's away from home. Brentford have a very good home record, so you don't want to disrespect that. But at the end of the day, we saw what we could do against them, and what we did was we completely outdid them on the day. And so why change what worked? Unless you really think it's that much of a difference playing away and without Xavi, which you might have a fair point. Maybe it is that different that you've got to completely change what we're doing. But I would argue I would not. I would go with I would try and go on the front foot and dominate.
They've won every game bar 3 at the G-Tech. They drew with Chelsea 2-2 at the early stage. They lost to Man City 1-0, and they drew to Leeds 1-1. So does that tell you anything about what kind of teams can go there and get points, or have gone there and got points this season?
City, Leeds and
Chelsea.
Not necessarily. Obviously, they beat Liverpool. Who else? I don't think you can learn too much about the opposition. No. Do you think you can?
Well, I'm just looking at it being like the 3 teams that have gone there and taken points are kind of attacking teams.
Would you call Leeds an attacking team?
I think recently they have been, and since when Leeds got the points at Brentford, it was like, because they tried defending in the early stage of the season, but actually since their good form, they've actually been going for teams, haven't they? And the Leeds were the last
going
team.
teams while playing a back 3.
Yeah,
but
so you can be attacking while playing a back 3.
Yeah, but it's a weird one. They're attacking, but while being more solid, because they've got the extra defender. Yeah.
But I look at Leeds being, when I watched them, it seems like they're very much an attacking team.
I think before they were quite defensive.
Yeah.
But that was because I felt like they were quite defensive because they didn't have the coverage. I looked in Lee Leeds preview, but they didn't have the coverage. They went to a back three, which allowed them to be more aggressive in their pressing, but it gave them more coverage at the back because they've got the extra defenders. I guess it's a braver in a way. I wouldn't call them an attacking team, but they're being braver, I would say, in their press, more aggressive. But City and Chelsea, obviously, we know they like to play on the front foot. I don't know if there's a massive correlation. I think Brentford like it when teams come at them, to be honest. I think that's what they want, and they hit you in behind. Against Man United, I remember watching that game. United dominated so much of that possession. You had just one ball from Henderson in behind to Thiago, and they were in on goal. That's obviously what they're going to try to aim to do. Now, the goal for Tottenham is... I think, look, they tried to do that to us at the Tottenham Stadium, but Romero and Van der Ven completely nullified what they had. I think we were just very good on that day. They tried to do the same thing, but they couldn't handle us.
But also, they are a pretty poor away side. They don't go to many away grounds and win or even play well. They've actually been really poor on the road. It's at home where they've been fantastic, and not many teams are being able to go there and do things. So, look, I'm sure... I think it's quite significant, them playing home and away, and I think it's been shown so far this season. So I think if we go and play the same way, we got to be 100% on it. And if there's any sort of drop off in the intensity that we had in the game at home, then we'll probably lose the game.
I think that happens either way, potentially. For me, we know what we need to do to beat this Brentford side. We've seen it already. So that's got to be the game plan, in my opinion. Because we know Brentford just playing a similar... This season, anyway, it seems that they've been playing a very similar way in most games. Even away from home and at home, yes, the results have been very different, and maybe the confidence has been different. They have been much better at home, but in terms of what they try to do, it's very similar. So I think we've got to back ourselves, is my point. We have to back ourselves to do what we know we can do. We know we've got the better players. We know that if we're on top of our game and we outwork them, that it's going to be hard for them to live with us.
Yeah,
it's going to be tough without Xavi, but we've got the players still to win this game.
I don't know. I've just got this feeling that Brentford are going to come into this with something extra on their minds as well, because they know Thomas Frank's coming back to Brentford. The fans are going to be on top of it as well. It's going to be a different atmosphere at Brentford than it was at Tottenham. You're going to see a Brentford team. This is probably the 3 points that they want most out of any game in the season. You know what I mean? Players and fans. This is a massive game for them. For us, it's just another away game, and obviously we've been very good away from home this season. But we can't underestimate that kind of factor and the effort levels. I think that the players and the fans of Brentford are going to be putting into this game, and I think it's going to play a part in it.
For sure, which is why we should match them and not be scared of them. In my opinion, I think that should be the approach we should go with, and try and quieten the crowd and try and dominate them. Because I think as the pressure builds, the crowd are going to get more and more confident. They're going to get more and more up for it, and that can work against you, in my opinion, especially in this kind of fixture. That's why I wouldn't allow them to do that, which I think we're at risk of doing if we give them the onus. I think that would be a mistake in this game.
I don't know if it would, because they're just not very good with the ball. They're just not very good. Like if you ask them to go and attack a team, I don't think that's where they get much joy. They get all their joy on the transition and playing into the open spaces. And if we give them the opportunity to do that, that's where they can hurt us. I know that didn't come to pass in the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. Obviously, we suffocated them that day. But like I said, it's going to be a different game this time. So I just feel that to nullify them completely, you kind of just be a bit more reserved, and then I think we can actually get quite a few goals.
But I think if we did what we did against Palace, right, and we give Brentford the chances Palace had, I think they'll score, is my point. I don't think they're going to be as bad in front of goal as Palace were on Sunday. And unless you're telling me you think if we play the same way we'll concede less chances, I don't. I think we'll concede a similar amount and we'll probably concede. And we also won't look good going forward. So that's why I wouldn't do that. I think that'll be a bad approach. I think Brentford, I agree with you, are going to be up for it, which is why we got to go toe-to-toe with them and really go at them. Because I think if you give them that encouragement, you give it, and they take an early lead, a set piece, something goes in because you've been put under pressure early doors, all of a sudden your back's against the wall. That's what you've got to try and avoid in this game. You've got to try and quieten the crowd as quickly as possible. And that means having the ball, quietening the game, quietening the crowd, and putting them under pressure. That's what I would do.
Another thing which could be quite telling in this game, if Fabio's there. If Fabio's at the game on Thursday, is there some sort of deal in the pipeline for Kevin Schade? Is Kevin Schade going to be playing for a move to Tottenham on Thursday? We know that there has been serious links there. We know that Thomas Frank is the one that brought him to Brentford. And we know that's a position that we're looking at. So Brennan's last game for Tottenham could have been against Crystal Palace. Could Kevin Schade's last game for Brentford be against Tottenham?
Potentially. I think that could be very telling. Obviously, we haven't heard many links since Plettenberg.
Yeah.
So we'll have to wait and see if we are seriously interested. But I think obviously if you could easily be putting two and together in game 4. I think that just makes sense, doesn't it? A player Frank knows well, who scored regularly in the Premier League, offers more than Brennan in a position that we need. Is Schade the answer to our left wing problems? In the short term, I think there's an argument. Is he the guy to be our long-term left winger? I think the jury's out on that. But he definitely offers something different to our current left wingers, something more of a goal threat, more of a running behind threat, and that's good. And I think we would like that. And maybe it'd be interesting if he has a really good game. He puts himself in that shop window for us.
Yeah. It's not a ground that we've been that successful in all. We won there last year.
I don't think we've lost there.
No, we haven't lost there. We've only ever... Well, I'm just looking at it now.
Draws.
So the first 2 years in the Premiership, it was 2 draws. The last time we've won there was obviously last season, but before then was 1998. Obviously, we haven't played them a lot, but...
There's just loads of draws.
We've played there 6 times. It's 4 draws and 2 wins.
Unbeaten. Come on.
Last year was just a weird game, though, wasn't it?
Last year we did give them the ball, and we were just very resolute, and we ended up getting the win. Own goal, I remember, and Sarr late in the game.
Yeah, good goal from Sarr.
Bit of luck, but we got there.
Yeah, and probably the time before that was Ange's first game, wasn't it, when we drew 2-2?
That was opening game of the season.
Yeah, Ange's first game, opening game of the season, where we were on the front foot for the majority of the game, and we ended up, I think, did Romero score an own goal that day?
Romero scored and went off with a concussion.
Did he not score an own goal as well? No, he didn't. It was Whistler and Mbeumo. Romero scored and then Emerson scored.
Emerson late on,
It was 2-2 at half-time, and then there was no goal for the rest of the game, so...
I remember, we played fairly well that game. Anyway, it's a tough place to go for us. They always make it difficult. We always feel like we leave that ground and we got away with it a bit. So it's always very, very difficult.
Yeah. Well, it's going to be interesting to see how it pans out. Obviously, I'm here with Daigle for the watch-along.
Well, I guess a lot of games tonight, but in terms of where can we go anywhere if we win? The highest we could potentially go, depending on results, would be 7th, which would be good. We'll see what the other results contend with tonight and obviously tomorrow. But yeah, I mean, a win would be all of a sudden after 19 games, you're looking at potentially being in the top 10. That'd be great. Yeah,
look, I think we've got a nice little run of fixtures now. We need to get some wins on the board. Got Brentford, Sunderland. Who do we have after Sunderland? We've got Bournemouth and Burnley coming up. So West Ham. So we need to get some significant points on the board in these next 4 or 5 games. And if we do that, we'll leave ourselves in a really good chance and really good. We've set us up nicely to go into the second half of the season and hopefully take that momentum into it.
Yeah, and it's about obviously the January's big, so that is going to be for me that will set up our season in terms of what we can do in January, and hopefully get a few results over this next month. This is a big month in general for the whole season in terms of signings, ins and outs, and results. It's all, I think, all could be set up or decided in this month in terms of what the rest of the season is going to look like.
Yeah.
We could be out the cup. We could be, not in the top 8 of the Champions League. We could be bottom half, mid-table Premier League, or we could be in the top 10. We could be through the FA Cup, and with new signings.
So
So
a mix and match of all of them.
there's so much to be decided. It's a very, very big month, and I think in a way selling Brennan at the start of it definitely shows to me like we're serious about doing things this month. Like we're not going to be waiting around. So that's a good thing, and that shows to me that they want things to get going. They don't want to drag things out. So let's see what happens.
Yeah.
That's encouraging.
It's exciting, man. It's exciting, whatever you want to say. We've been dreadful so far this season. There's no two ways about it. But with the fixtures that we have now, and if we can go on a run, it can I wouldn't say make up for the awful start to the season and awful first half of the season, but it will put ourselves in a good position. And it's a position that, we couldn't have envisaged a week ago. So it's kind of mad, isn't it, how poor we've been. But if we win these very winnable games, we'll be back up there.
Yeah, and that is the state of the Premier League at the moment. Everything is so tight. 2 or 3 wins and you're where you want to be. 2 or 3 losses and it's a crisis. And that's just how it is at the moment. So absolutely, it can all be recovered very quickly and can all be changed.
Yeah. So let's hope that does happen, and it all has to start at the G-Tech in the Thomas Frank derby. It'll be quite something if Frank can do the double over Brentford. The first team he's going to do the double over. Is this the first team that we're playing twice as well this season? So you can't really write it. But look, Spurs got to do the job, and we'll see you all on Thursday for the watch-along, people.
Super chat, Danny Kiriakou.
What's that jabroni said?
Said, bye Johnson again, ole ole. Thanks for the Europa League.
Thank you for the super chat, Danny.
Thanks, Danny. He's buzzing.
We'll see you all soon, people. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in today. Like, subscribe, and comment. And as always, come on, you Spurs.